Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm but one of your hosts. And rejoining us is our go-to podcast compadre, Mr. Joe Lever. Joe, how's it going, pal?
Oh, I tell you what, Jimmy, it's been a hot minute, but it's got me feeling chipper, real chipper.
It has been a hot minute. You have a different background.
I do. The background is changing. No longer my apartment living room. Now we're in the kitchen of my new home. All moved in.
So cool. I'm sorry. I couldn't have been there to help out. That's waiting on carpet.
What's that? Yeah, waiting on carpet upstairs, then we'll be able to be fully moved in. Right now my bedroom is in my dining room. I'll spare you that scene. And I'm looking to buy stock in Dutch Boy paint.
Look at that. There you go. You probably should have done that before you bought.
Before I bought all the paint. Whatever.
That's great. Well, welcome back to you, Joe. Welcome back to all of our Legionnaires who are here joining us again, and to anybody who's here for the first time. We talk about games and TV shows and movies and all the things we love so very, very much.
What about the cookbooks? What the heck?
Oh, yeah, it has been a few weeks. Well, usually with you, I talk about cookbooks. I bring that up with anybody else, and they're like, what are you talking about? It's that time of year when cooking, even more so now. I always think about cookbooks at like kind of holiday time, like everyone's busting out their cookbooks to.
That's true. Time to fatten up for winter, boys.
Exactly. Oh, goodness. Oh, boy. Yes, music to my ears. But before we get into the meat, as it were, of the entire podcast today, let's talk about a little bit of news. Now, Joe, you've been gone, so I'm going to catch you up real quick that Disney and Fox have been talking to each other, and they have a deal going on right now, potentially. There's nothing yet, but it sounds like Fox is trying to sell off everything except their news and their sports stuff, potentially to Disney. We're talking like, X-Men, baby. Like, that's the biggest thing, a Fantastic Four and all their other like TV and movie assets to Disney, because they don't feel like they can compete with Netflix and all these streaming services, where Disney is making their own streaming service coming up here. And we have an update here that's saying that they're still kind of in talks. We're still not sure yet. Pencils aren't down, as CNBC says. But I kind of wanted to get your thoughts just quick about an idea like this. Do you think it's a good idea for Disney to try to buy this stuff up? Do you think it's a good idea for Fox to maybe sell this stuff off if they don't know what to do with it? What do you think?
Well, yeah, Fox is kind of, Disney's a diverse company, but Fox is as well. I mean, like you said, the sports and the news and all that, but clearly their movie, I mean, they have some good movies. I think you'd be surprised to see the roster for their movie list, but I think, why not? Make out with a giant buttload of cash to invest in other ventures, and let Disney do their thing. I mean, here's the thing, though, is that people like Sony, Warner Brothers, they're like, like pretty soon Disney's just going to have a monopoly on the whole entire industry, and they'll have their, they'll have the foot on the throat, so to speak. So.
I like that. The foot on the throat. Well, I would love it if just Disney could just maybe straight up buy Spider-Man from Sony, and that way we could just get like Venom and stuff. We wouldn't have to worry about all this like, are they making it part of the MCU? It's like, I just want all the Marvel stuff to be with Marvel Studios, whereas with WB, they've got every DC thing, and they're still kind of struggling to figure all that out. Just like, once Marvel gets all of that stuff, maybe. But yeah, I think it's kind of a crazy thing. And Disney's made some big moves in the past couple of years. I mean, we look at buying both Marvel and Lucasfilms, which that's insane. But I would love if this deal does go down to talk numbers, because those were $4 billion a piece. I'm not sure that this deal would be that big, but it still would probably be a pretty significant thing. And if they bought, all the Fox stuff, we could see a lot of other crazy things come under that Disney umbrella, along with all the like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, but a lot of other things, like you said, like movies wise, like, okay, now those are Disney properties. So,
and given Disney's track record, I mean, to see some of those properties shown in a new light, perhaps a much better one, that would be something. So,
yeah, definitely. Well,
Disney could be real exciting for the industry, for the fans.
Yeah, for sure. Disney just keeps growing, and maybe one day we'll start getting crazier. Like, their theme parks are nuts as is now, but like eventually one day maybe with some of these Fox properties could potentially be in the theme parks more. Like, that'd be kind of nuts. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look through like the Fox roster and be like, oh, that'd be cool if they got that, or it'd be weird if they had that, sort of thing. But Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But speaking of Disney, they just came out with some news about Star Wars. And no, Joe, I know you're the biggest Star Wars fan, but the director of this next one coming up, The Last Jedi, his name is Rian Johnson. They just announced that he is going to be heading a brand new trilogy of Star Wars films that have nothing to do with the current stuff. It's not going to be numbered or anything, and he's going to direct the first film in this, but he's going to make a brand new trilogy that has nothing to do with the Skywalkers or the Kenobis or anything else like that. How do you feel about that? Do you like that idea?
uh,
I'm putting him on the spot here. I figured because you're not a huge Star Wars fan, maybe you would like it because you don't have to be beholden to any Star Wars stuff. You could just come in fresh and be like, hey, there's brand new people.
That's true. That's true. It's just that show up and enjoy kind of a deal instead of you haven't seen that one.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, in that aspect, it'd be pretty cool. I don't know. I can't quite put my thumb on how I feel about Star Wars.
Okay.
I don't know if that's probably not the best explanation by any means, but I just, regardless of character and all that, it's okay. I mean, it's so vast and broad. Like, it's not like the world. It's the environment that the setting for this movie is mind blowing, right?
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, it's just like, oh, I'm done. I'm cutting it right there. I'm not going to try and explain it, but yeah, I don't know. It opens doors to new possibilities as far as a storyline, motives and characters and quality and effects. It could be a good thing. Not to mention, how long are they going to keep that same story going? I mean, has the story been exhausted? How much more can they really expand on it?
I don't know.
Let's go back to the prequel when what's her name was born and how the Force became a force and what types of wind carry the Force and how does it get from point A to B and the engineers that created the AT-ATs and the
pretty good.
It's like, a fresh start may be good. Maybe that's something to really help Star Wars out. But it's just that it's starting over fresh. I mean, you have such a strong fan following to the original Star Wars and that story and those associated characters. And would you alienate them a little bit, or would they just be like, "Oh my God, there's more of it. It's growing." I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit more of the latter there. It's more of like there's more to the world. Like I need to know more, and there's more of that. But then also they're attacking people like you who might not necessarily be interested because it's like, wow, I have to watch like how many years of like films to get to where I should know these characters. So it's like this is brand new, and it's not beholden to like there has to be a Skywalker fighting, for justice and truth. It's like no, it's just like these are brand new characters. We don't have to do Jedi or lightsabers at all if we don't want to. So I think that has the potential to be something kind of interesting, but it also puts a lot of emphasis and pressure on this next movie, The Last Jedi, coming out. Rian Johnson, he said this. He said, like, now I really hope you like The Last Jedi. He's like, I wanted you to like it, but now that we have this coming out, I hope everybody really likes it, because if everybody hates this movie, they're like, yeah, you're making a new trilogy? Like, this news almost feels like they must be very confident with this film, because if not, I would say wait until this movie comes out and people are like, yeah, I really love it. And then say, guess what? He's going to make a new trilogy that's going to be completely different than this stuff. Because like right now, it kind of seems like it puts a lot of almost unneeded pressure on this film. Well, I don't know. Do you see that at all? Do you feel that?
Does it put more pressure on this one? No, you're cutting ties a little bit, like we said, it's a fresh start.
Oh yeah, I just mean from like a directorial standpoint, where it's like he's directing this one and people hate it, and they're like he's directing the first one of that new trilogy. People might be like, I'm kind of hesitant.
How far in is he? Oh, okay.
He's co-writing. I think they're working on it right now, so it's kind of like it's been in the works. I think alongside this stuff, and they probably saw this work and said, hey, do you want to start helming this brand new trilogy over here?
Sure. Yeah. If this one flops a little bit or people don't quite have the uproaring response to it, then it could spell bad news for the spinoff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and let's not lie to ourselves, Joe. You'd love an AT-AT engineer film. You'd love to watch that movie. They're like putting it together. You're like, from a structural standpoint, how does this thing walk and turn its head? Because I'm not buying it. As is, I'm not sure.
How do they get there in the first place? And
Yeah.
then how do they navigate the rough terrain? And I don't know. I don't know.
I also wonder if this was an idea that they came up with and said, hey, we have a lot of cool, interesting ideas for Star Wars, but we can't really put them into the canon we're making right now. But let's just like make a trilogy over here with brand new characters and all the coolest stuff we could possibly think of and not worry about like, oh, does it have to have X-Wings flying in to shoot TIE fighters? It's like, no, we don't have to do that at all. Like, do anything you want. Anything. So I think freeing him up and seeing how well that Rogue One did, I think people were like, oh, Rogue One was really cool. And kind of seeing those anthology films do well, said like, all right, hey, we can make something different. So we might eventually be getting like, this might follow suit with after these next few films, while the trilogies or the episodes are taking a break. They might put this trilogy in there. Then we wait, 5 to 10 years, and then they come out, with the next one, which would be like 10, 11, 12. As far as that stuff goes. So maybe this is supposed to be kind of a space filler along with those like anthology films like the Han Solo film to kind of come in and like fill the void, the gap that might be left during that time. I don't know. It might be interesting. I'm excited to see like what they announce for it, and if we're even going to get, Force users, or are we going to get smugglers, or are we going to get bounty hunters? Your mind can run wild at these things, but I would still love a bounty hunter film. That'd be great. Just show me bounty hunters. That sounds
Sure.
Sounds really cool. Or just like a Sith film. Do like just focus on a Sith. Just like make one bad guy be your like for the entire trilogy. Give me a Darth Vader trilogy. They're not doing that. I mean, they said it was going to be completely brand new characters, no repeats. So I don't know. Allows them to be creative, which I think that's what Star Wars was about in the first place, to be something completely different and not have to just follow the rules. So
okay, what is a Sith?
Oh, excellent question, Joe. So like Darth Vader is a Sith, typically the guys with the red lightsabers. I know it's an oversimplification, but Darth Maul was a Sith. So Sith, Jedi, kind of.
He was pretty cool. I liked his get up, his look.
Oh yeah, people love Darth Maul. That was the problem with Darth Maul, is people were so psyched about him and loved him, and then they're like, and we killed him, and then they like brought him back in like the Clone Wars TV show, and people were like, okay, it's like, just don't kill off your cool looking villains. Just be like, they can survive to the next film. Like Marvel has a problem with this too. They're like, here's a brand new cool villain, and it's like, well, actually their villains usually aren't the best, but they just like hack them down. You're like, oh, okay, get out of here. Unless you're Loki or something, which you're just kind of like, I just keep showing up. Yeah, I hope Star Wars. Yeah, there's a lot of potential I see, but who knows? I'm excited to see what they do with it. And I don't know, maybe this will interest you more so once we find out some more about it. Maybe they'll give us like something, kind of say like, hey, we're going to go with this, or we're going to go with this type of, archetype that's a little bit different. Maybe we'll get a darker side to Star Wars. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Yeah, it's all the biggest news from this week that I wanted to talk about and discuss with you. But now we got to get into the biggest thing, which is the news of next week. Yes, we're going to make some sweet, sweet predictions. I'm just kidding. I mean, we're talking about, but November 17th is kind of a big day. A lot of stuff's coming on this day. It's kind of like what happened with October 27th, where it was like Stranger Things Season 2, Super Mario Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Wolfenstein: The New Colossus all came out on the same day. We're kind of having another day similar to that, not as big game-wise, but more movie and TV show. So, Joe, we've got Justice League coming out. We've got Punisher coming out. We got Star Wars Battlefront 2 coming out. We also have Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which I'm sure is a big deal if you're into Pokemon, is coming out as well.
What are those on?
Those are on the 3DS.
Okay.
And then the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Skyrim is coming out on Switch, which is a game they've sold about a bajillion times. And also Sims 4 is coming to consoles. I guess that's another big deal. But anyway, Joe, I want to talk about what you are the most excited for. Maybe maybe the top 2 or 3 here. I think we'll probably be in the same boat here. But like, what's the things that like on that day you'd want to spend your time with? If you were like, Joe, we're giving you Friday off, you pick the one thing you get to do or see or play. What would it be?
Pressure's on. Justice League, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Why Justice League? Sell me on Justice League, Joe.
First of all, one of the things you mentioned was Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
Pokemon, I haven't played that in years. I would probably have fun with it if I picked it up again. But
I would love to see you playing a new Pokemon, dude. That would warm my heart if I called you up and you're on your 3DS. You're just like, hey, what's up? Just playing some Pokemon.
yeah. What else? Skyrim, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Justice League. Shit, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm excited for that movie. I don't, optimistic or cautiously optimistic about it.
There it is. I was gonna say I'll help you out there, but if you got it,
I was trying to find the words. They escaped me. And no, I keep seeing the previews for it and all that, and I've been kind of following the press on it as they were just in, or were they China? Then they went to London, and then next stop I assume is the U.S. But the characters seem really well done. I just I know Ben Affleck's hit it home pretty well. Henry Cavill, Man of Steel, really no questions there. Aquaman, Jason Momoa seems pretty darn cool. I'm kind of a Jason Momoa fan as it is, so and I typically like the roles he plays, whether Game of Thrones or Frontier. But the two I don't know much about, this Ezra guy, and I forget the cyborg's name, but those two characters as a whole, I'm watching them in the previews and all that, and there's something just kind of, I can't put my thumb on it. Maybe it's the CGI or something. I don't know. Cyborg's going to be, immediately when he shows up, I'm just going to be like, like and looking him over, like. So whoever did all the CGI on that guy better have, been paid well.
Yeah.
Do your job, buddy. But anywho, I just, the environments, the settings, I'm kind of skeptical about those. I feel like you're gonna have a lot of, there won't be a lot of reference in this movie. You'll see a lot of rubble and buildings, and then everything else is just gonna be like red cloud. You know what I mean? Like, that's the impression I get from the previews, which does concern me a little bit. But needless to say, I'm interested to see how they did it and how it's going to feel. And am I going to have any goosebumpy moments? If I get a goosebumpy moment, that's an automatic jump up the ladder. And we'll just have to see.
Yeah,
so
you'll have that for Superman when he returns. And you didn't talk about him or Wonder Woman. How about those two characters?
Dude, I need this. Well, Henry Cavill is Superman. You just know what to expect.
Yeah.
And there's no question whether he's good or not. Wonder Woman, are you kidding me? I cried during her movie, man. I cried. Yeah. So, excited for her in this film, hands down. But, hopefully they can capitalize on that emotion that they had in her film, and kind of bring some humanity and excuse me, I got a little bit of a cold. Humanity and almost more there was something grounded about her film. Yeah. Maybe it's because it's kind of referencing history, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think when it comes to this film, we're gonna get kind of a mixture of like Watchmen plus Avengers because of the two directors that came together to make this one. So we're going to get kind of those crazy big set pieces with interesting imagery, but a lot of quipping. I think there's going to be a lot of jokes, like a lot more jokes than we probably would have expected. But we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, Wonder Woman was so good, and I think Patty Jenkins did such a good job directing that. And having Henry Cavill come back as Superman, and he said some remarks a few weeks ago, Joe. I don't remember if you've heard this or not, but he kind of said that like DC's made the right mistakes, hopefully, to like learn from them. And he said that these movies would struggle even if Marvel didn't exist. So kind of finding their footing. But it's nice to hear him say that. Hopefully everybody's on board with that too. And maybe we'll get a Superman that is a little he doesn't need to be cheery necessarily, but if he's coming back, he has to bring hope with him. And if he's all sad and depressed, hopefully people will be more excited, when he shows up this time, instead of like trying to blow him up at the Capitol building or whatever. He's just sadness in the fire, just like, dang it. Also, I don't know if Lex Luthor is going to be in this. So if Jesse Eisenberg isn't in this film, it's automatically getting like 2 points from me. Like, I'll just put it, if it's at 0, I'll be like, here's 2 extra points for you. If it's like a 7, I'll be like, it's a 9, because they didn't put him in there. But
my hope is he got shanked in jail and we'll never hear from him again.
I wish he would have gotten the Bat brand. That would have been great. And then it'd be like, you're a dead man. If only. But anyway, Justice League is the most exciting to you. And I'll talk about it for a second. I think if it came down to it, if someone said, Jimmy, you can only play or watch something on that Friday, what's it going to be? I think it'd be Justice League for myself, just because I want to see it come together. Which, side note, Come Together, which wasn't a song that I was super keen on, that new version. I keep hearing that on the radio, and I'm like, what is this song? And then I'm like, and then every time I hear that, I'm like, okay, you got me. Like, a little bit there, I'm like, you got me. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it. I'm kind of sick of this whole, like, let's remake an old song, slow version or rock version. But
I've liked it thus far.
Yeah. But you're right, Cyborg and Flash, just for me, as far as like, I'm not really sure, where they stand yet, and I'm interested to see how they play out. And I know you like Aquaman. I like Jason Momoa from the little I've seen of him and things, but I will say I'm nervous. I hope they flesh him out a little bit more, and I wish we could have gotten the Aquaman film before this, kind of like with Wonder Woman, because if we hadn't seen Wonder Woman besides Batman vs Superman, I'd be like, okay, she's just going to be in Justice League. But now seeing her, I have such an attachment to her. Like, if Aquaman were to die in this film, which he definitely won't, you have Wonder Woman, like, I'm more concerned about her well-being and happiness and not being hurt, because when she gets hurt, I'll be like, no. If it's like the Flash, I'll be like,
stupid.
Yeah, I'll be like, see ya.
Stupid, man.
Guess I'll have to watch you on the CW. Oh, it's cold. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm also interested to see how they made this film, like behind the scenes stuff on this film in particular, because of the change out and all of that. I would be interested to know what that was like, especially bringing in a new director and bringing the cast back and doing reshoots and saying like, hey, this is Joss Whedon. Like, he's the guy who's directing you now. So, like, as an actor, I'm sure for such a big role like this, that'd be kind of a weird thing to come back into, So, yeah. Justice League. I hope we can see that together. But another one I do want to talk about is The Punisher, coming out on Netflix here. Kind of a John Wick vibe. I'd say that for me is like a really close second place, as far as this day goes, because I do like the character of the Punisher. And I'm kind of wanted these Marvel Netflix series they have always been rated like mature, but like this one seems like they're really going to kind of go for that a little bit more. But I don't know. Are you excited about the Punisher as it stands right now, Joe, as far as November 17th is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in it. I'm hoping that it's almost, I want it to be bloody, gory, R-rated type of deal. I hope they, I don't know. I liked the actor they chose. I forget his name, but he was in Walking Dead. He was that other cop that got shot.
Yeah, John Bernthal.
Yeah. I kind of like him. He can really play that kind of gruff, kind of angry, unpredictable type of character. So I think right off the bat you're in a good position that way. But and obviously we're no stranger to him and the character via Daredevil and all that. But I mean, this is a standalone. It's kind of different. So all eyes on him, so to speak. But I'm losing my train of thought, but I guess as to what I'm looking for to get out of it, and if it's going to make second on my list of what to do on a Friday I have off, I really want it to be kind of fast paced. I feel like the mistake that those series have made on Netflix is taking their time with shit. Like I mean, it's baby steps sometimes, and it's just like, I mean, I know I'm watching this to kill a little time here, but I mean, I don't have that much time, guys.
Yeah, 13 episodes.
Entertained here. I could have watched the news if I wanted to see a bunch of people talk to each other, and yeah,
it was just like, I'm checking out your 13 episodes. Some of those, like, there's like 2 or 3 that just feel like nothing happens. You're like, why haven't you done anything? It's just like that.
Yeah, exactly, and it gets a little boring. And then sometimes you're just like I don't understand. Couldn't he just walk in there and like this is all over? Like wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, and I thought originally this was only going to be 8 episodes, but I'm seeing here I think it's going to be 13.
That's good. I mean, they shouldn't cut it short, but that just leads to me that they've got some episodes that are going to be like fillers, developmental, development.
So many flashback episodes of him just like, my family, they're dead, and I'll be like, I know, you.
I got early prediction. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of brooding.
Oh, dude, so much brooding with like a big bottle of like Jameson or something, and he's sitting with a pistol in the dark. Like that's just like a Punisher thing to do. Where he's like, I'm gonna kill myself, maybe. I don't know.
Cleaning his gun a lot. Like he's gonna be sitting there oiling the barrel, oiling the stock.
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that kind of stuff, because if they're gonna like bring this, I'd rather be watching something kind of different and watching like a guy who's like a kind of a gunsmith after a while and really good with guns. Like I don't mind watching him, do that for a couple of minutes here and there throughout the entirety of this. Be like, oh, he actually knows what he's cleaning his guns right now. And if someone says like, why do you always play with your guns? He's like, a clean gun is an efficient gun. And he's like, you don't want this thing, locking up on you when you really need it. Like that would be cool. I'd be like, oh, okay, that's as opposed to him just sitting there, just like, it's so hard to kill mobsters. My family, like,
flashback to death. Oh no!
Like I already get plenty of that on Arrow already. It's like don't
see. We're already picking. Like we're gonna see just a little bit of that. We're just gonna be like, ugh.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, Joe, we should watch this again. I'm like, Joe, you watch it. Look at this. Look, what's happening here?
Yeah, part of me is like that's just too formulaic for this style of show. I mean, what can they do to really change up the game? I don't know. I'm not going to be the one to give them that idea, but yeah, that's what they should be thinking every time they go into one of these.
Yeah, well, I just kind of wish, looking back on these Netflix series here, I wish that they're kind of 8 episodes a piece, and then it would have done 13 for like the Defenders one, where it kind of like warrants more because there's more to the cast. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. It also sounds like, depending on what this Disney deal, like if Disney does its own streaming service, which is going to do, these Netflix shows might be gone, which, to me, after seeing all of them, I wouldn't be like, oh no, I won't get Luke Cage anymore or Daredevil. Like I like those characters, but I won't feel really bad. And I don't think the Punisher is going to be the one where I'm like, they got to keep making these. I'll just be like, that was cool. All right.
Yeah, what about Ghost Rider?
Okay, so Ghost Rider is interesting, and because he had like a brief stint on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm not sure what they would do with him, and I'm not sure if they would ever do a TV show with him, unless it was like a very short one, like 8 episodes long, and they could really use that CG budget. But I don't know, I would still love to see that, but I'd rather have him get a good MCU movie, like a Marvel Studios Ghost Rider movie, and then put him in the Avengers and stuff, because he deserves to be. I don't want him to be relegated to TV. Like he should be a movie.
Okay.
Like the grandeur. He's a guy on a flaming motorcycle. He's a skeleton. Like he should be in a film, like a better film. I mean, not Nick Cage. Like Nick, he did fine. It's fine. But just maybe something new. So
yeah. I can't argue with you.
Yeah. Plus, the other thing that's weird with these guys too is we'll probably never see these guys in the MCU. Like I don't think we're gonna see Jessica Jones popping up in Infinity War. I don't think they might show a shot of them, maybe, but still, I would be like, they probably won't do that. There's too many people in that movie already. There's like 30 people. It's like, oh my gosh. As far as like big name actors, it's like, wow, the budget for that movie's gonna be ridiculous. Last thing I want to talk about here about November 17th, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, for people who might be new here to the show, Joe and I have kind of a weird feeling towards the Battlefront series. I loved the old Star Wars Battlefront games, so Battlefront 1 and 2 back on PS2, and the ill-forgotten, Battlefront 3 that just never made it out. It was coming, but it just never actually launched, which is unfortunate, because I love those games. We played the beta for Battlefront a while ago, a few years ago, right, Joe, before the first one came out. And we were pretty mixed on it. We didn't really care too much. Joe is more of a Battlefield veteran, and we played Battlefield 4 quite a bit. And it was kind of like, oh, it's kind of like that, but just Star Wars overlay. Beautiful looking game. I mean, going to third person.
Harder. Yeah, I mean, beautiful and all that, but harder. It was like you were being shot from out of nowhere. You just didn't know. Yeah, it's just like, screw this.
It was hard to be competitive for us anyway. But then when we switched to third person mode, and on some of the maps, the Hoth one was like the most difficult, I felt like. But like when we play in those other ones, like that one, like the desert kind of trenches, like when or like the the one with like the down satellite things. Like you put third person on, you felt like you were cheating because like you could like look around corners and stuff, and I was like, oh, everybody should be like default with the third person. But Star Wars Battlefront 2 comes out, and personally, I'm not super excited about it. I know it's going to look good. I'm sure it's going to play really well. It's going to be all that stuff. However, I find it hard to care. The only thing I'm interested in is that single player campaign that looks pretty interesting. But besides that, for me, there's just not much there. And the fact that they kind of based at least the beta around loot boxes as far as progression goes, I think they're kind of throttling back on that, pedaling backwards. But still, it's kind of weird. I don't really know where that's all going with their star cards and all this stuff. It's just too many things that kind of like make me sick. And I want to play a Star Wars game, guys. I love Star Wars so much. I don't feel like this is the Star Wars game for me. Joe, how do you feel about Battlefront 2?
I would just be worried I get more of the same crap.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's kind of the thing.
Yeah, Battlefront 1 burned me, so.
Sure, and we didn't buy this. Like I said, we just played the beta. But at least I do appreciate that they're embracing the prequels, because that's been something that's kind of been weird when Star Wars was acquired by Disney, is that they're kind of like, oh, people don't like the prequels, we won't talk about the prequels. But this one's embracing it. You can play as Darth Maul, you can play as a clone trooper, as a droid, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I appreciate that, because when I'm playing a Star Wars game, I don't want to think, well, there's other cool stuff I could be playing as in this game, but they won't let me. So yeah, I don't know. Battlefront 2, we'll see. I'm sure it'll do well, or I hope it does somewhat well, because I like Star Wars games and I want them to improve. But these two Battlefront games I should be excited about. I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars Battlefront, but I'm not a huge fan of Battlefield so much, and I think you really have to be kind of a lover of both to really appreciate this. And there aren't any other Star Wars games out there, so this might be the only thing you can play to like scratch that itch for right now. Yeah. And because EA shut down Visceral, and we're not getting that single-player kind of campaign, narrative-driven Star Wars game, there might not be another big Star Wars game like this for a while. Like, we don't know when there's one that the Titanfall guys, Respawn, was working on. No idea when that's coming, if it's coming. We don't know. So it's like you kind of your hands are kind of tied right now. And this is the problem when you give a license to one developer and you're like, you get it for 10 years, make some games. It's like, okay, thanks. I just wish everyone could take a crack at Star Wars, because I don't know, Joe, is there any gaming group that you're like, man, you guys should make a Star Wars game? Like, I'm trying to think of who I'd want to have. Maybe like From Software, the guys who make like Dark Souls and Bloodborne. It might be too tough though. Like every lightsaber hits like legit, like you lose an arm. Like if someone hits you, you're like, oh. But,
well, I don't know. I mean, Call of Duty tends to, garner a bit more balance in their gameplay, I feel like. Sure. I mean, if this is truly like Battlefront 1. Battlefront 1 was just, it just seems stupid to me. It was just like, oh, there's bullets hitting me. I don't know where they're coming from. Oh, on that mountaintop over there. I don't know. I mean, and it wasn't just like sniping. It was like some guy with some pea shooter laser, just like, I don't know. It got pretty grindy and annoying, and the map is so large. And oftentimes there wasn't a ton of cover, like that snowy one. It was like, you had some mountains, but that was about it. And there's a lot of people on each team. So I was just like, to get to where I got to get to, it's like, I feel like I'm wasting 5 minutes running there, and who's to say I even get there? I'll probably get shot before I get there. And it got too grindy and annoying, and I hope they fix that. But assuming that it is like that first one, if I wanted a game developer to nab this thing up and do it right, who would I want it to be? I think the Call of Duty guys could make it right. Who is it? Sledgehammer?
Also Treyarch. Maybe our favorites are Treyarch, right?
Treyarch, yeah, for
those
sure.
Those guys, like the Black Ops ones, if you guys aren't familiar with Call of Duty.
Who's Sledgehammer? Who are they?
They do Infinite or Advanced Warfare?
Yeah.
Which one? It's hard for
me.
Are
they involved in the latest ones? Activision, Sledgehammer? I don't know. It's not Activision. Or is it Activision?
It's Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, and Treyarch, I thought, was like the three for a while.
I think you're right, yeah. But anyway, I feel like as far as first-person shooters go and stuff, they've achieved the balance.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I think the problem that you have, too, is kind of endemic to the Battlefield series as well, where you feel like you run in for like 2 minutes, and it is like a literal battlefield, so that's kind of cool. But a lot of it's just like, I got to run somewhere, and you'll just get shot, and you're like, there's nothing I could have done, to prevent that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm maybe thinking about it. CD Project Red, who did The Witcher 3, if they had to do like a more narrative focused Star Wars game, that'd be pretty cool. Those guys would kill it. But as far as shooting goes, maybe you got some there, Joe. I don't know. I'd also love to see what Respawn, like the Titanfall guys. I want to see that game, because if they made a shooting game for Star Wars, or like a lightsaber game, like they were kind of teasing, like that could be really cool as well. I just want more Star Wars. I just want something, other than just Battlefront, because I feel like you're shoehorned to that or mobile games, and it's like, no thanks, no thanks. Last thing, I'm just going to talk about it briefly here, but Skyrim, Joe and I are not necessarily big fans. I'm not the biggest fan of Skyrim. I know it's one of the most popular games in the world, but I think coming to Switch is a really cool thing. I'm sure a lot of people are excited about that. Being able to play that massive game anywhere on the planet at any time is pretty cool, and I can respect that. I think the more time goes on, the more the Switch impresses me. Like my buddy Levi's got it, and he'll just bust it out. He's like, "Hey, play this," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I'm like, "Wow, this actually looks pretty cool." It's just like holding the tablet. I'm just like, "All right, nice." So getting to play that anywhere at any time, that's pretty cool. But as far as November 17th goes, it seems like Joe and I are both for the Justice League, and probably watching Punisher that weekend as well, just to watch the first couple episodes. I typically watch through all, like, in that first weekend. That's just how I am, so I can kind of get through it. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll keep my attention a little more than Iron Fist did, because Iron Fist was, oh boy, what a doozy. They had a few good things in there, but the rest of it was not great. So maybe not having superpowers for your main character will allow them to kind of throttle back into like the Daredevil-ish, even though he has superpowers, but like kind of more gritty. Like, this is just like a human man who's just very good at killing people. So yeah, as opposed to those unhuman men. But anyway, Joe, November 17th, how are you excited as a whole on the hypeometer for all this stuff? Where are you right now? Because you got like the Justice League, but then some other things you don't really care about. Where are you? I need to know.
Oh, I think it's pretty clear. I'm pretty psyched for Justice League. I mean, hypeometer, I mean, I'm sitting at a hot 9.7. I mean, of all the movies this entire year, the only one that rivals it is probably, I was pretty interested in Wonder Woman. I mean, I went out and made the effort to see that. I mean, this is surpassing Alien. Oh my God, I always forget that word.
Covenant?
Covenant, yes.
It's okay. Yes. I think Ridley Scott forgot it too. Oh,
ouch!
Gotcha, Ridley.
Ouch.
He doesn't care about the Alien franchise, Joe. He's like, I'm just going to keep making these for whatever, man. It doesn't even matter. He's got to have more love. Joe, you have more love for the Xenomorph, I think, than he probably does. I can't speak for him, but I just know how much you love it. I think you'd make a cool film. But your movie would be from its perspective. You'd be like, what's the Xenomorph thinking right now? Like Xenomorph's day-to-day life. Just be like a GoPro on a Xenomorph. Like send it out. Yeah, I think for me, if you're at like a 9.7, I'll say for Justice League, I said like 50 the other week, and like I bet people are like, whoa, I'll put it at 65. I'm keeping it low still because I still think it's going to be a cluster, but I hope it's a fun cluster. I hope I'm just hooting and hollering. I hope I'm having a good time, because honestly, I haven't seen a DC movie where I've been just like kind of happy. Most of it's just been like sadness and depression, even in the fight scenes, which Batman vs. Superman, that fight scene really just makes me angry more than anything when they fight with, spoiler alert, Doomsday. Just the way that all ends, I'm like, you just give this spear to Wonder Woman and she could throw it, or you throw it, or you don't have to fly into him. It's just like, it just seems like such a horrible. And then Lois has to be saved on 3 separate occasions in that film.
Yeah, man,
it just, and Eisenberg and holy Rocky, man, it just oh boy, it gets me riled up. But Wonder Woman's brought me back. I'm in this movie, and I didn't think I'd say this before because I was never a huge Wonder Woman fan. I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't know a lot about her. I just thought she was like the female version of Superman, and I was never a big Superman fan. I was always more like a Batman fan. But after seeing that film and after Gal Gadot's performance, I'm going to see this movie for her. And some Ben Affleck, Batman. We'll see. This might be his last time out, which is also kind of depressing and weird to think about. You're like, it's like if
what an asshole.
Well, we'll see how it goes. It's like if you watch The Avengers and you knew Robert Downey Jr. was probably going to stop being Iron Man. It'd be like, what? Like the first Avengers. It'd be like, what are you thinking? Like, it's like,
But then again, Robert Downey Jr. is an example of a guy who wanted to turn his career around too. When he came into Marvel, that was I don't know how that all occurred. I don't know the whole story, but I mean, he kind of just all of a sudden, boom, I'm back. I'm putting everything I've got into this, and make the most of the career I got and get back on top. And boy, did he! And he stayed committed, and he has been committed all the way through every one of these movies he's been featured in, which is dang near all of them.
It's mind-boggling, to see him like show up. Even in Spider-Man: Homecoming, you're like, yep, you just showed up a few times and did a few things. It's like, wow, that's crazy. Did I tell you about the whole Terrence Howard thing, Joe? The guy who played like his buddy Rhodey in the first film, and why he wasn't in the sequel. Did we talk about this here? I feel like I've talked about it with some people.
Oh, we've talked about it before. I forget why though.
Okay, I'll just give you the short version. Terrence Howard talked about this a few years ago on a TV show, but he said, they had like a multi-picture deal, and in the second one, instead of the $8 million, which he was kind of promised going into it, they said, hey, we're going to give you $1 million, and we're actually giving the other $7 million to Robert Downey Jr. because we think that this will be successful with or without you. And he was like, I'm the guy who helped get this guy the job in the first place. And apparently he had like called him, Robert Downey Jr. He'd like called out to him, and he didn't hear from him for like 3 months or something about it. So obviously a little bit of bad blood there. But for me, even though that would suck, and I'm not a movie star, and I'm sure it costs a lot more to live the movie star life. But if someone said, hey, you know what, you're going to be in the sequel, you're going to get paid 1/8 of what you're going to get paid, which sucks, but you probably get a contract for like 20 other movies, I'd be like, yes, I will stay. I'd be like, that's all right. I get it. He's the draw. I'm not the draw, but I'm going to stick it out and still be here. It's kind of like the Tyrese Gibson stuff that we're dealing with right now. He's kind of said that he wouldn't be in the next Fast and Furious if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in it, because he's angry at him because they're doing a spinoff and it's delaying the next Fast and Furious movie. It's like, Tyrese, think about it. You got 2 more movies in you, at least with this franchise. Just stick it out.
Yeah, but he probably needs the money now, and he's mad it's delayed.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're desperate too, and I don't think Terrence Howard was necessarily desperate in the same way that Tyrese is, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I try to think of it rationally, and I'm sure as artists, they're not always. It's not always about just the money, but. For me,
Tyrese was in Transformers. He was in all these Fast and Furious movies. Where's he been putting all his money?
I don't know. Also, by the way, Josh Duhamel, I think of him in Transformers. I think he's in Call of Duty, which we're going to talk about here in a second. I'm pretty sure he's one of the guys. When I was watching your stream of it, I was like, I think that's Josh Duhamel. By the way, Josh Duhamel is great. I like Josh Duhamel. He's wonderful. I love him and everything. Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, Las Vegas. Just all that stuff.
Las Vegas was a good show. I don't care what anybody says. That show is actually pretty darn good.
That show is so weird. Anyway, sorry, we got off topic. Anyway,
a little more conversation.
Anyway, so the hypeometer is really high for you on November 17th, especially for Justice League. Me, a little more tapered off. We'll see how Punisher is. We'll see all that stuff goes, but I hope we can see that movie together. And there will be a review of Justice League. It might be a few days late, but that's just how it goes. Don't worry about it. All right, Joe, I want to talk about the other big thing here this week. Call of Duty World War II. You've been playing a lot of that game, and this will kind of serve as our review for critical reviews for Call of Duty. But I want to hear your thoughts on it right now. You've played some of the single player, you played some of the multiplayer, you played some of the zombies. How are you feeling about the game and the return to World War II?
It's good. They need to get back to the roots. It feels refreshing that it's grounded. I'm not jumping over stuff, doing crazy aerial moves and all that bull crap. We're back to the nitty gritty that made Call of Duty so great. Starting off with what makes the game very good is the campaign. And the past Call of Duty campaign's a little slow, it was fun, but short, easy, blah. This campaign is like no other. Different features. I mean, there are moments pulled straight from history that you play through that trigger emotion, that are just awe-inspiring. And it's got a personal feel to it. It's like watching the History Channel, only you're playing the character in the show.
Oh, cool.
It really is cool. You start out storming the beach at D-Day, which is really neat. I guess other things, the excuse me. In the campaign, there are likenesses of actors, and Josh Duhamel is one example.
Yes, I did it.
Yeah. I mean, it's you recognize them immediately. They did a good job with the CG or the animation of him. It looks like him, which is really cool. I mean, big name actor in a video game for the campaign, showing that they put some attention to it. But I guess I'm trying to think of other things.
Well, how does it feel? That's the biggest thing. Usually with these shooters, how does it feel?
The feeling is typical to Call of Duty. It's really good. You always get that feedback when you shoot, and I love it. When you hit somebody, you get that feedback. You know you're hitting somebody. Excuse me. Which I love. I always love that feedback. If I'm shooting somebody, I feel like, you know what I mean? But throughout the campaign, I love the aspects of the interaction with the environment. It's really well done. There's a lot of sneaking that you have to do. There's intricate storylines. You play different characters every once in a while. You have to drive vehicles, use certain equipment, which makes it a lot of fun. Like you get to drive a tank, for instance, and you're in a little tank war for a little bit. You get to use an anti-air gun. You get to fly a fighter plane, which is different than any other Call of Duty in the past. It's top notch. Yeah, and it's a little longer this time. And I think you get into it and you feel more committed to it. Like I'd probably play it more than once.
Cool. Nice. I wish it was co-op. That'd be cool.
I know. That was the first question I asked, and Drew and I were looking at it, and we couldn't do it. But
shucks, maybe next time.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm trying to think. The gun choices are pretty good. I feel like it's very Destiny-esque in that, instead of engrams, you have like loot boxes, or similar to Overwatch. They're easier to get than those games, but I like the customization isn't quite as much as I wanted. Like I expected it to be a little bit more Black Ops 1 style.
Okay.
With the camos and your emblem on the gun, like a little more visual attentiveness. Like in Call of Duty Black Ops 1, for some reason I felt like I saw everything. Like if somebody had an emblem on their gun, you'd see it in the kill cam, or you know, mine, I could always see it. And the customization was there. I feel like your outfit, your face paint, the camouflage on the gun, it was more accentuated in those games. And they're older games. I mean, they were on the previous consoles. But this is still pretty good. I don't really have too many complaints. There's still the customization that you would expect. It's just not over the top.
Sure. So do you get guns from only the loot boxes? Do you level up?
No, you actually have to level up, and like you unlock this one at level 38 or 41, that sort of deal. Yeah, and then you have to complete certain things to get the attachments. It'll give you the attachment unlocks and all that good stuff. I mean, certain weapons, they're really high levels you gotta get to get them. Trying to think. So far, and this is class-based too. It's not just I have a character and I just pick a type of weapon. This is you're either it's infantry. What is it called? Mountain sniper. Oh, I forget what it is. Airborne is the other class, which is SMGs, and I'm forgetting them. There's another one that's more of like a run and gun shotgunner type.
I like a demo kind of guy.
Yeah, and then there's a heavy guy that has the LMG stuff. But so it's different that way. You set one to be your headquarters, and that's kind of the one that you commit to more often, I guess. But you can still play all the others, and you can change off and on. But so let's see. Yeah, I could go on and on about this. I'm just trying to give details so people can get an idea of what it's like.
Do you like the class-based stuff? Do you feel like it makes a difference? Because I know, like in Destiny, it's like you and I are different classes, but I only feel it once in a while with like my grenade or my special ability. Like the rest of the time, it's like I'm just another guy with the same gun, basically, that you have.
That's a bit it, and my abilities differ a little bit. Like my Titan, I feel like because I have another character in Destiny. I was playing with a warlock a little bit. The way that the warlock jumps and glides around is a little different, and I know you can change that in the special or whatever. But my Titan, I can like pick the elevation I want to jump and hover at.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, but yeah, just a little detail. But either way, yeah, the class-based thing, it doesn't really matter too much from what I can tell. It's more out based on the weapon you choose,
Sure.
So I can put an SMG on a sniper class. Yeah, I'm just going to be dressed in a ghillie suit, and I'm slower.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, there's no other real benefit to it than that. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still typical Call of Duty. It feels really good. The controls are stellar. I feel like there's been a lot of people, like I'm out of practice. Like the last Call of Duty I played was Black Ops 3. And, there was a period of almost a year where I didn't play that at all.
Sure.
Except for maybe once in a blue moon. And I've totally lost a step. Like in Black Ops 1, I used to be, you remember, you and I actually played that together, and we would go just on killing sprees. And I've had a game or two here and there, but I don't know, I got to be really focused for it. But there's some good players on there. But as I practice a little more, I'm getting better, top 3 kind of guy. But yeah, I don't regret buying it one bit. The campaign alone was amazing. It was really well done and fun.
You told me about this other like war mode that you can play in the multiplayer that's a bit different.
Yeah,
it's kind of like you're attacking or defending.
There's a few new game modes. The maps are really well done, by the way, for the multiplayer and the environment and the campaign. Stellar. But yeah, the war mode is like, it's almost like, think of Overwatch with a payload.
Oh, sure. Like you're trying to move something along.
Exactly. So it's similar to that. Typically, it's tanks that you're trying to get to a certain point. And then sometimes you reach like three objectives throughout the travel of that game. And as you hit them, you'll have to do certain things. Like at the middle objective, you're either like building a bridge or stealing fuel for the tank. And you have to get to the final point by killing your way to it. So it's pretty cool. It's well done. Drew and I enjoy it. Sometimes it's a little too much, God dang it, another grenade,
Yeah, another objective to get to or do something. You're like, yeah.
Well, because you're like by the tank because you have to be close to it for it to move, just like Overwatch. Only here, you got guys just whipping grenades and like, all I got to do is get right behind the back bumper and I know I got something.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful how you approach that. Drew and I have been getting better at it and learning to, kind of be unpredictable. So,
sure. Yeah. Nice, cool. So besides that game mode and those various ones there, obviously Zombies makes its return. Do you feel like this is like the best Zombies has ever been to you personally, or how do you feel about it right now?
The Zombies are really good. I would say they're better than some of the originals. I never played World at War, the first one or whatever it was, but Black Ops 1, I played a lot of the Zombies. And Drew and I, the first night we played the Zombies on this Call of Duty World War II, and I loved it. Cool. Drew was a little upset. He kept dying, and I was just running around. I kind of just I paid attention to, okay, what perk is this? What perk is that? And I made sure to get the sprinting.
Oh, yeah. Good man.
So I could run really fast and without tiring. And I just paid attention to where the guns are that I needed. And I found the mystery box. I got power on. I was looking for certain things, but I had figured out a loop, that had enough space to get around. And and then I knew there was a trap up at the original starting point where you like start the sewers on fire, and it killed a lot of them. So it cost me $1,500 a time, and I was like, well, I've got almost $20,000. I might as well do it, and then I get the money back as I kill them. So
nice,
so I just run in circles and do headshots and come back, set the trap, and ended up doing pretty well. So I kind of got a little bit of a plan down. It's fun. I mean, if you get a couple friends together, it's a good time.
Is it 4-player?
Yeah, I think you can have up to 4.
Okay, yeah, I figured that's usually what it's been in the past. It's usually been 4-player
Yeah.
co-op. So.
Oh, and the characters are cool. They're from there are characters in there from that, they're like trapped in a mall or something. There's that black cop or whatever, that zombie movie. Dawn of the Dead, maybe.
I mean, that's what it is.
Because I was playing as the black guy who played the cop, and I thought that was interesting, but I gotta look at it again.
Cool. So overall, can you give us a score out of 10 for Call of Duty World War II and a recommendation for those who may or may not be on the fence about it? Where would you put it?
Well, here's the thing. I have an idea that they're coming out with some DLC stuff. They've got to.
Oh, for sure.
Right now, I feel like there isn't a huge selection of weaponry.
I
feel like it's a little limited as far as guns go. And you prestige individual things, by the way. It's not like overall. It's
interesting.
Like I can prestige by MP40 and keep upgrading it, which is weird.
You're like, this gun has seen many good battles, and you deserve a medal, you sweet little gun. It's like, I'm better now, and you're like, well, you're different, so you're not better, but
I don't exactly know how it works. I haven't been paying attention, but I wouldn't mind some more weapon choices.
Sure.
I mean, there's a decent amount, but it's not overbearing. It's not as many as Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2. But needless to say, I'm having fun with it. It's a good time. The campaign was, worth 7 of the stars I'm going to give it. And that's just because I really enjoyed it. But, overall, well-rounded. Probably one of the better Call of Duties I've played. The last good one I played was Black Ops 2. And they did a good job. I'll give it a strong 8.5.
Nice. Oh, I forgot to ask you, did you mind having to heal yourself in the campaign because you don't have regenerating health? Was that a problem, or did you like that?
No, it is. It's good. It makes it feel more you got to work for it, Yeah. It's not like I just re-heal. I'll just whatever. I'm sick of waiting and wasting time. I'm just going to run in and kill all these guys, right? No, You actually have to use the environment for cover features. Get behind this truck, shoot them. You have to be more tactical, which I enjoyed a lot. It was well done. I think that was a smart move. It really was. In multiplayer, I mean, you do regain your health, but I feel like it's not as quick. So if you get shot a couple times or you get a near-death kill, so you kill somebody but you almost died, I mean, if you step wrong in a freaking groundhog hole, you're dead, because it takes a little bit to build back up. But well-deserved 8.5. I'd even be swayed to go to a 9.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see where they go with the franchise now that they've gone so far back. If they'll go back up to, like we talked about, maybe Modern Warfare style things again. I don't know if they'll go future for a long time, or hopefully they won't. They'll try to kind of stick it out in this, or maybe
They've exhausted that. They've exhausted that. I mean, it gets a little too bullshitty. Honestly, I think a modern day one, present day, 2017, would be perfect. I think people love that.
Yeah, I think that's something we've missed because we did Modern Warfare, but it was a little while ago, and our stuff, weapons and technology have advanced. So I think that today, Modern Warfare, like right now, would have been like future or advanced warfare, back in when the old Modern Warfare 2 came out or whatever. So yeah, cool. 8.5, man. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Cool, man. Well, thank you for giving us that because I haven't played it, and I know a lot of people are getting out there and getting it. So obviously, tremendously popular game. So
well, I know you're not a big Call of Duty guy whatsoever. We used to have fun in Black Ops 1, but
oh yeah,
I really think you would enjoy this one. As a first-person shooter, it's near the top. The campaign, they do a good job with the campaign, which I think is that makes the game more worthwhile. You don't always buy a game just for multiplayer. Especially one that you have similar, Call of Duty. It's been around for how many years now? It's about time they stepped it up. So
Yeah, well, and good campaigns are things people still want. I mean, look at we're talking about Battlefront 2 here that has a campaign now, but the first one didn't really have one, and people were in like an uproar about it. Like, where's my campaign? And a lot of people would say like, hey, you guys play that campaign for the first weekend, and then nobody ever goes back to it. But it's like, if I'm paying, I used to pay $65 for the campaign plus the multiplayer, but now you took that away from me. And Call of Duty's always done a good job of making their campaigns, I think, still pretty interesting. Like I played through like all the Modern Warfare campaigns because like these campaigns are pretty fun. Like I like these and the Black Ops ones and stuff. I was like, it's good.
Yeah, so, they're not bad. Some of them are really quick paced or fast paced. This one is too, but it's ever changing and developing. But it's much more Ghost Recon style, right? Like you got to be a little tactical about it. You got to make sure you don't get spotted. There was one point where I'm saving a child in a basement. And I find her in a closet, and there's all this storage crap in this basement. It's big. And some Nazi soldiers come down, and they're kind of lighting flashlights, and it's kind of half lit down there. And I'm holding the girl on my arm, and I'm like looking around, and I'm trying to like, okay, this guy literally was like, I can almost reach out and touch him, and he walks by, and I sneak by him. There's another one right in front of me. He walks forward and to the right, and I'm just like, it's I think I even streamed that portion of it, but it was it was tough. It was cool though. You know, it's a different aspect that you don't see in a first-person shooter. So,
well, since stark contrast to watching you also snipe a bunch of people who've decided that it's time to retreat, and then they all run down this like street between like a building and a car, and I just watching you stream like.
Yeah,
like, I'll just drop it.
Well, it's
like,
awesome because in that game in the campaign. When you're sniping and you do the focus in, it goes slow motion.
Yeah.
So like everybody around me, like all the AI, they're all like cheering. They're on the retreat. We've won. Yeah. And they're all celebrating. I'm still bent over the sandbags, just like I'm not letting one of them get away.
Yeah. Like
they're all gonna die.
Private Lever over here is like, yeah, the war is never done.
If I leave them, who's to say I won't see them again?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they may be retreating, but I'm going to end it now. And so like there's like just a line of them running down an alley in the very far distance. And I'm just like, doof, doof. Just one headshot, dead, just mowing them down. I think like a couple get away out of the 10 or so.
So good. Yeah, it was so good. It was a joy to watch you stream through all that stuff because I saw all the things you just talked about, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was on my own personal account though, so I don't know that it got that much attention. I should have.
Yeah. We got to set you up on CR, baby. Gotta get you there. If only
I lost the password and the access info.
Oh, I'll give that to you. And plus, I mean, we gotta one of these days. I gotta buy you a PC, man, so we can get your beautiful face on there too. Yeah, pretty face. Anyway, Joe, thank you for telling us about Call of Duty. I appreciate it because it's nice hearing a review, from you about something that is near and dear to your heart, but you're still critical about it and still kind of see the shortcomings and stuff. So
a little long-winded, but the only thing I've been, and here it is, it's gaining some more wind, getting longer. Now, the only thing I've had a little bit of trouble with in this game, and that has been slightly frustrating, is if it's not as chill as they used to be. Like on a Saturday afternoon, there's a lot of people on, right? I found myself in a few matches where the people I was up against, they were stellar players, and I could tell by their levels and what they were using. They were, and I was going negative KDRs, and I was like, this never happens. And so every once in a while you have a tough run, but that comes with any game multiplayer. So
it always sucks when you're below that 1.0 and you're just like you're like a 0.5 or something. You're just like,
especially when you're used to like a 4 or 5 typicals.
I remember back in the day, and people probably remember me saying this, but you were always the guy who'd get you'd be like 19 and 16. And I was always like the guy who was like 10 and like 5. So it's like I wasn't killing as much, but I was like I always have so much like my guy's life. I'm like, it's so precious. And like you're running out there going, I will kill as many as I can before I inevitably die. And I'm like sneaking around.
Well, okay, Jimmy, it was more like 25 and 16 and 16 and 3.
Yeah, I've got a picture here from Halo 5 that shows a little something different, but 16-3, I'll take that, man.
Oh, Halo's a different story. That's not really my bread and butter there, which Halo's not bad. We did have some fun with Halo 5, but not my bread and butter by any means.
Halo 5 is, yeah, man. Halo 5, Destiny 2, Black Ops, Overwatch, man. We played a lot of first-person shooters together, and I don't regret any of them.
Yeah, but so you prefer Halo 5 multiplayer to Destiny Crucible?
Maybe because it feels a little more like just like kind of fun times. It's like get the power weapon or run around with your buddies in this tight little corridor, or go running down a corridor and then like shoulder bash into somebody. With like Destiny, there's like so many more powers you have to consider. Like you have to be like, okay, what is that guy doing? Oh, he's got a super and he just ran in and used lightning, or he like shot, a bow, and I'm like, what's happening? And like Destiny's got so many colors going on sometimes it's hard to tell what's happening. In Halo, yeah. Like, oh, I've got a needler. I know how to use this thing. I'm gonna slide. They're all in this room right now. We'll just slide in there and just kind of
so
thing.
Do you think like Halo was a little better because it was a little more like when you were doing the multiplayer, it was basically on like a blank slate. Like you're playing on a big sheet of white paper because the environments are fairly clean.
Yes.
The opponents stand out because it's either red or blue and they're big suited armor people. Whereas Destiny, it's a little bit more like, oh, this little guy crouched behind this cover.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. And for some odd reason, those maps in Halo, they were kind of a bit smaller for like the team deathmatch or the Slayer stuff, but they just felt so like tight, Whereas like Destiny's a little more floaty. Like kind of people are floating around, and they're not bad at all. But Bungie is still like really good at making first-person shooters. But yeah, I don't know. The Crucible just wasn't really entertaining to me as far as Destiny went. I just really appreciate the campaign more so.
Yeah. The environments that they built were stellar. I know I've used that word quite a few times tonight, but
that's okay.
The environments really were well done in Destiny. So
yeah,
I feel.
Yeah. Well, we gotta stop talking about first-person shooters. We're gonna be here all night, but we get to go. We have to do something quick, Joe. We have to salute our commander, Jonathan Larson, our $100 patron over on Patreon.com. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Appreciate it, pal. Good man.
Thank you. And as we like to say, or actually Jonathan likes to say, their fate concerns me. Yours does not. It does not. No, thank you so much, Jonathan. If you want a cool custom avatar, fully customized, and for me to say out something every podcast, then you go check out Patreon.com. That is at the $100 tier. But now, Joe, it's time to move into that segment of the show that I like to call, that you like to call, that we like to call Timekillers. That's right. It's time for Timekillers. The games we've been playing, the movies we've been watching, the TV shows we've been viewing, the cookbooks we've been reading. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and I've been watching a new series called Fate Apocrypha. If anybody's watched Fate Zero or Fate Stay Night on Unlimited Blade Works on Netflix, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, anime, fights, craziness, heroes from all parts of time coming together to fight for the Holy Grail. What more could one ask for? Am I right? Also, I did finish watching some old Pokemon, which we talked about a little bit here and there. But yeah, that's what I've been killing time with. Oh, I forgot. I got to mention these few things really quickly. Rapid fire succession. I watched Tomorrowland, which was actually pretty good, from Disney, George Clooney and stuff. I don't know who the movie was for. Maybe like 13. It was kind of like kiddie, but it was also kind of dark, but still good. Directed by Brad Bird, who did Ghost Protocol, or Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol, which I love, or The Incredibles. He directed those. And then I also watched Arrival, finally, which Arrival is actually pretty good. I'm not an Amy Adams fan, and Joe knows that too. I do not like Amy Adams as Lois Lane. This movie, it's like an 8.5 or a 9. I kid you not. For sci-fi, wow. It was really good. I was like really intrigued. I was like, we'll see. And then I was like, wow, it's actually good. If you get a chance, I think you might be able to stream it on Amazon right now. Maybe Amazon.
You can just rent it from the Microsoft store on the Xbox or something.
I recommend it. You won't regret it. It's good. It's good. It's like, okay, it's a little bit of thinking in there too. It's a little Inception-y at times, but it's like, okay, cool.
Really?
Cool. Yeah, I recommend it.
I know it did really well, and I was kind of wondering why. I was worried it would be really boring, but yeah, you're saying otherwise.
Yeah. Yep. Just go in. I had low expectations, so I kind of watched. I was like, oh, let's see about this. And then I was like, okay. It was pretty emotional. I was like, all right, cool. That's what I've been killing time with. Joe, what have you been killing time with, pal?
Oh, I've got some stuff to lay on you, pal. Starting off with playing a lot of Call of Duty.
Yep.
It's been good. I don't think I need to say much more. I went through the whole synopsis and how I feel about it. I've also been, I know we tried the raid on Destiny, tried killing some time with that, and it failed. I would be interested in trying it again, but here are my conditions. We would have to be patient and wait to get a guided game.
Sure. Yeah. Or
I
we get a full
want
6
a
months.
guide. I don't want to be the people pretending to be guides and fumbling our way through it, because obviously you can't fumble your way through it. First of all, you lose team members, and your time commitment goes from 15 hours to all weekend.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it was compelling. It's just, it feels like it would be a little grindy. Would we beat it? Probably not. But fun, something to do with a goal in mind. But yeah, other things I've been killing time with. I've been watching. First of all, I've watched everything Flash-wise, CW Flash. I'm pretty much caught up on that, except for the stuff that's happened in the new season here that came out this fall. Not a bad show. The Flash is okay. It gets a little dumb and cheesy at certain points. It's like, okay, these two human girls are going to go take on the big bad by themselves. Like they just assume they can handle it. Like, what are you doing? Like, stupid. Do I have to tell you again? Stupid.
Yeah, I don't know why that's just like, please don't. Why?
Yeah. I mean, they don't even have a freaking gun. Anywho, not that these shows are geared towards, we got to kill the bad guy. They never really kill. But, and if they do kill, they don't really accent it at all.
Yeah.
But anywho, so another side of the coin, on the bad side of the coin, I've been watching Supergirl on Netflix. I kind of knew what happened in season 1, yada yada. I saw a few episodes. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit to where things are more developed and going on. So here I am watching season 2 on Netflix. I'm like, all right, let's see how it goes. Episode 2 goes out, 3 I'm done with. All right, here's 4, here's 5. I'm on episode 8. This show freaking sucks.
Uh-oh. Why does it suck?
I think it is probably the worst superhero show they've done to date.
Oh my.
Okay, I get it that Cara Danvers is, like, she doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, she's probably the best part of it. I mean, she's pretty decent. Sometimes they almost show her off as being too ditzy and naive, like ridiculously so. But otherwise, character, actor, pretty well done. I get a little sick of the Martian Manhunter, John Jones. Amateurish, stupid. And the whole my race got wiped out on Mars, and the fact that they try and flesh that out, and they show the whole white Martians. And,
oh, you don't like those? I think they're kind of cool, but I didn't.
I mean, they're kind of cool, but it's like, and then the whole relationship he develops with the one that, a good white Martian. Just spare me the bullshit. It's stupid. And the fact that everybody in this show, like her adoptive sister, the sister whose family adopted Kara, she's such a badass. Like, she shows up and it's like, thank God you have my back, Alex. Yeah, that's her name, Alex. Yeah, thank God you showed up, Alex. Like, she showed up with her black outfit and a pistol. I mean, she was shooting at a monster that's 20 feet tall and can basically fly.
Quick side note, this is my Black Widow critique right here. So if anyone's ever like, Jimmy, why so? This is the exact same reason. So I do not like Alex for the same reasons. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, as an actor, character, she's okay. But, and then they often, like, they botch Supergirl's powers so badly. Like, I think Smallville, and I'm biased because I love Smallville to death and it's nostalgic for me. But if I really try and take a step back and compare the two and look at Smallville versus this, first of all, Smallville is much more practical effects, etc. I mean, they show off Clark's powers in a way where it's like you gave an example where he like pounds a fence post into the ground. Well, I don't know how they did that, but it looked real as all get out, right?
Yeah.
Or lifting all the hay bales at once with each arm. Well, obviously, it's straw pasted to foam blocks, whatever. But,
sure.
Excuse me. I'm so congested. Anywho, it just always had a more practical feel to it. Here, they try and go above and beyond with the CGI and the effects and all that. And then some of their wire work seems like really amateurish. Like, I felt like Smallville did a lot of cuts during moments like that, and then they just somehow slow down the impact to, like, show the guy flying into an electrical panel or something or a block wall. I just feel like they did a better job. And here, like I saw today, I watched a little bit of an episode. I was just like, yep, can't do it anymore. Like, Kara gets flipped into a wall in the hallway, and like you're looking for the wire because it's so freaking slow, and she like tumbles, and it's not slow motion. She's just like, okay, and I'm just like, she's Supergirl. That should be like a freaking tap on the shoulder. You know what I mean? And like her strength compared to others. 1 minute, like apparently the Guardian, who is James, what the hell's his name? Olsen. And since when is James Olsen this big buff guy? Anywho, I mean, I get the guy looks like he should be playing football, but since when can he like go up against a freaking strong ass alien that can throw Supergirl around? I don't understand it. Did you see that when he was going against the white Martian and the DEO?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
Does he get like superpowers? Does he get like a suit or like?
He's got a suit, but the suit isn't superpowered. It's just he's got a strong shield and the helmet and some body armor.
Oh.
Other than that, he's just out there beating people up. It's like, this makes no sense. And I hate it. Why does he need to be a superhero? I was jealous. I get to see Kara jump out a window all the time and go fight people. I want to do that. It's like that's
everybody
the reason
wants to
we
do
all
that.
like superheroes, because we all wish that we could have that feeling or be something bigger than ourselves. Well, just because we all like that thought doesn't mean we all go and sew up some tights and run out the front door.
Yeah, I would love in like a show like Arrow where everybody becomes a superhero for like, and I think this probably has happened, but for them to go on their first day and like die, like they get shot and it's just like they're dead, and you're like, oh, well. You're like,
shame on you for thinking you could do it.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, it's like that's what happens sometimes, guys. We had a new recruit last week. He died first night out. He got shot in the face. I don't know what to tell you. It's a dangerous job. Yeah, that does seem weird. Oh, okay, so Supergirl. Maybe should avoid it right now, potentially. I kind of want to watch it just so I can laugh along with it, because it seems like it's a very not intense show.
It's grasping at straws. I can never take it seriously.
Sure. I also know you've been watching Stranger Things as well.
Yeah, Stranger Things is good. I get the whole nostalgia aspect of it. I mean, 80s, they blur with the early 90s a little bit. Not that I remember anyway. I mean, if you're maybe a few years older than we are, say you're like 32 or something, you probably really appreciate the show, maybe 35.
Yeah.
So this could have a broader reach as far as a fan base. People our age, early 20s, teenagers, and then even all the way up to like 40s. People are watching that like, oh man, I remember when we used to have those cars, the Ford Pinto. Oh man.
Yeah, I see those. I'm like, didn't those used to blow up? Was that the Pintos?
Something like that. They had some sort of issue, but it is kind of cool. Like back then, like, smoking wasn't a big deal, so all of them were doing it, and come to find out they were all killing themselves.
Do you have a favorite character in Stranger Things right now, as it is?
Everybody loves the toothless kid. And he's actually toothless because he has a bone disease. Like
Oh.
that's a legit thing, and he can like bend his arms in front of his chest because he doesn't have any collarbones, and he's a really good singer. I don't even know his name in the show. That's how much I care about him.
You know, it's
I think
sad.
the only name I know is
Dustin.
Mike and L.
Okay.
Yeah, Dustin is the kid's name. I forgot.
Dustin, Will, Sam?
I don't know what the black kid's name is.
Sam? I'm gonna look it up. I watched both seasons. I don't even know. I just
What's the sheriff's name?
Oh, that's Hopper.
Hopper?
Yeah, he's gonna be a good Hellboy, right? Like after watching this show, I feel way better. He's perfect for it. I'm like, he's smoking.
Everybody, I've heard that everybody raves about him because in this show, like he's the badass of the show. I like him because he's like your all-American, gruff, like I don't give a shit kind of guy.
Yep. That's what he's more so in this season. You'll see him do more of that kind of badass stuff. Oh, by the way, Lucas, Mike, Dustin, and Will.
All right. Yeah. So my favorite character is Hopper by far. Who's the lady that plays Mike's mom or Will's mom?
Winona Ryder.
Yeah, freaking A. What's with her?
She's not so bad. She screams at walls and stuff. She's like,
Yeah, how much did it cost to get her in the show? I bet you they paid her a pretty penny, huh?
Maybe, but she's kind of fallen from grace ever since. Yeah, she's not been in big movies for a while, I don't think. So
Yeah, so you're saying they probably didn't have to pay her much because she needed a career jumper?
probably not too much, but at the same time, maybe a little bit. This show's got way more of a budget, especially season 2. So
Well, yeah, it gained popularity and now the money's there, but I don't know. Yeah, okay. I hope they didn't pay a lot for it because part of me would be angry if a lot of the budget is going to her salary.
yeah, that's true, and I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. So
For some reason, there's something about her and everything I've seen her in. I just no.
slightly off-putting. I understand that.
Yeah, there's something off-putting about her. Then clearly she's not a good person. So that's how good of a judge of character I am. She steals things, shoplifts. She's a weirdo.
So, did you decide if Hopper was your favorite character, or is it a?
Yeah, I thought that was confirmed. Hopper's
Okay, I
awesome.
just want to make sure. I just want to make
like if I was in the show, I would be Hopper.
yeah, I want to hang out with the guy. Be like, okay, you seem to know what's
No,
going on.
I would be him. I would be Hopper.
Oh, you would be Hopper. Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I like Steve. He's way better in the second season. I like Steve. I feel kind of bad for Steve, but he's the boyfriend to Nancy.
The preppy boyfriend?
Yeah, he's kind of a prep jerk in the first season, but in the second he's a bit better. So, yeah, cool, man, cool. Well, Joe, if that's all you've been killing time with, we can move into the final segment of the show. Community feedback and questions. Joe, I asked everybody a very simple question. What is their most favorite game that came out of this fall? Got some pretty interesting answers here. Night Warrior says the one and only LA Noire, hands down the best game to come out in 2017. I think, does that come out on Switch, man? I don't know. Meekin on Movies says Chef Wars. I've not heard of Chef Wars. An open world culinary RPG. Interesting. And our one and only Yoren Evers says Assassin's Creed Origins. Maybe my game of the year. I love both Egyptian and Roman time periods. This is a great AC. It all works for me. 60 hours in and still going and wanting to go back in. Dude, that's great. And I've been playing that too, like I said before, but I've talked about that ad nauseum. But yeah, I enjoy it as well. And Ryan says the one, the only Super Mario Odyssey with 4 exclamation points, which I appreciate that positivity, that excitement. That's cool. We only got one question this week, Joe. It's pretty simple, but it's from our very own captain, Anna, weird girl, at Lil Red Winter over on Twitter. Says Echo Critical, hashtag critical.
Wait, hold on. We were just talking about what was our favorite game to come out this fall.
Yeah, that's what I asked everybody. What their favorite game has come out this fall.
Have we answered that?
Have we? I don't know if we have, Joe. I feel like we each kind of have in a way. I guess for me so far would be Assassin's Creed Origins. I've really been digging it. I think it's a really good game. For you, what would you be? You kind of for you, I think it'd be a mix between maybe Destiny 2 and Call of Duty.
Yeah, the thing that Destiny 2 brings to the table over Call of Duty World War II is, first of all my friends have it. You have it. Levi has it. Drew has it. And that adds to a game's value for me when I'm playing with all my friends. I really enjoy that. It just brings an enjoyment factor tenfold. But Destiny started to fall a little flat with me when I started to realize, man, there's not much more to do other than play Crucible. And I start to get a little with that. So, I mean, Crucible's great, don't get me wrong, but eventually it's like, I mean, how much more do I want to play? I was hoping there'd be like some different strikes. Like the strikes are repetitive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm with you there.
So if that changed every month or every other week, that'd be cool. Or maybe if there were variations of the raid and a little shorter than the raid.
Sure.
Heck yeah, let's do it. There's just something missing there. Call of Duty World War II. Yeah, it's great thus far. I mean, what did I give it? I give it an 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good time killer. I can play it on my own. The campaign is probably the most standout part of it. Especially if you're just playing alone, chill afternoon kind of a deal. But this is a really long-winded answer. I apologize. That's just my thing tonight. It's my theme. But
it's content, baby. It's sweet, sweet content. Everybody loves that sweet, sweet content.
Well, I'm trying to decide between the two because really there isn't anything else. I haven't really been compelled to pick up any other games. I don't know. Destiny 2. I love the customization. I've been, I get caught up in the, oh man, what armor did I get now? And oh, those shaders I just got. That whole thing. I get caught up in that. I'm very much, unfortunately, I'm a little bit of a materialistic person. I don't think in a bad way. I appreciate nice things, and looking good is feeling good, and boy, does my Titan look good.
He looks pretty crazy, actually. It's like very colorful, like a peacock.
Yeah, unfortunately, in Crucible, it doesn't help me too much. But anywho, I enjoy that game. And the controls and all that, it's really well done. It's fun. So yeah, Destiny 2, my favorite game of the fall thus far. Wouldn't be too hard to top them, though. Somebody came out with something. Thing is, nothing will ever be as good as Overwatch in my eyes.
Yeah, well, until they make Overwatch 2, am I right?
Oh, God, what'll that be like?
They probably won't ever make it. They'll just keep adding on to Overwatch.
You think so? They'll never stop adding? Yeah.
Probably not. Not for a long time unless they do something crazy. Like if everybody double the guns. I mean, look at Reaper with 4 guns. What if you had four guns?
4 arms.
Give everybody double the arms. Overwatch 2. Sounds horrible.
Part 2.
But we will be talking about our favorite games of the fall, just our favorite games of the year coming up here in January when we do our annual Critty Awards. We're going to start plugging that in November because that's what we do. Joe and I'll dress up and we'll talk about our favorite games and movies and TV shows and all that stuff for the year.
All that jazz.
It's going to be great. All that jazz. But yeah, all right. Here's our question. #Critical Podcast. That's how you reach us on Twitter. She says, if you celebrate, what are your holiday traditions? Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc. And what traditions do you do when the weather gets cold? Any family traditions there, Joe, or anything you like to do when the weather gets cold out?
If it's if it's post-Thanksgiving, Christmas trees just going up, for sure watching Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase.
Oh, yeah?
Hands down, holiday tradition, best one. I love that movie, classic. What else is a good holiday tradition? It used to be our annual trip to Cincinnati to be with family and all that and do that whole thing. Which I always look forward to, a little bit of travel. But
sure.
Nowadays, as I'm older, I don't know, that movie, the whole family sitting down with, something to drink, some popcorn and the Christmas tree lit, and then watching Christmas Vacation. That's always been a highlight. But that's about it. The baking and all that is great, but, I got to kind of watch what I eat, so...
Sure. Well, I was going to say that goes in stark contrast about what I'm going to say is that I have gotten in the past few years where 2 of my sisters and my mom and myself, we get together and we'll bake cookies and stuff. And I don't want to brag, but I've been perfecting my craft in the kitchen as far as it goes with making various delicacies and treats. This year, I'm thinking about tackling chocolate-covered pretzels And I do make like a pretty good chocolate fudge, but we might do an Oreo fudge this year. So the trick here, fun little thing for you guys, cookbook fans, so we talk about you. If you're going to make fudge, do yourself a favor. Make sure to melt that sugar down, because if you don't do it, you will have grainy fudge. Nobody wants that. It's horrible.
Ooh,
it's crunchy. No thanks.
Yeah, but you don't want it too grainy, but I want it just a little bit grainy to where
don't listen to him. He's wrong. Don't listen. He's not, it's gotta be good, great, delicious stuff. And I know what you're thinking, Jimmy, it's too rich. It's too rich for me. You don't have to have too much of it. The trick is you put that out at a party, you just cut them out in little bits. People just keep going back. They'll eat like a full pan of fudge if you divvy it up into little pieces with toothpicks in them. People just eat that. They'll just like, you look at shrimp plates.
The small morsels are misleading. They're like, oh, I haven't had that much, and they've had like 8 toothpicks, which is about this big of a square fudge. But they're like, I haven't had that much. There's another one. Another one.
Exactly.
Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite holiday treat, Jimmy? This will be a oh my god, this will be a Legion question coming up here during the holiday season.
We'll have to ask this out. That's a good question. Favorite holiday treat? I don't know, Joe. I think it might be chocolate covered pretzels. I like those like white chocolate covered pretzels, and then because like salty and sweet, it's really good. Like,
yeah. Here's the thing, I don't have a fast metabolism, so when it comes to sweets, I got to be careful, and sometimes it's really hard. But anywho, I work at my construction company. All these subcontractors that we hire all the time, they always send in like a card from their company saying, nice doing business with you. Here's a treat. Happy holidays. And we'll have a table back by our office that has just mountains of like candy, muffins. Sometimes we'll get boxes of fudge and just mounds of stuff. And I'm like, so I get to sample a little bit of everything. If I skip breakfast and I come to the office and I'm starving, I'm like, oh, well, thank God.
Forget breakfast. Who needs breakfast when you got that?
Well, it was good with coffee. Anywho, to this day, my favorite holiday treat, Buckeye balls. Do you know what those are?
I feel like I've heard of them before, but I can't put my finger on
the Ohio State tree, Buckeye tree or whatever. So they drop like nuts or whatever, and they're called a Buckeye. So they're like dark brown, and then they got a light brown circle, so it looks like an eye. It literally looks like an eye. Dark brown, light brown center. So Ohio, we call them Buckeye balls because you do peanut butter balls. It's like peanut butter, powdered sugar. I think that's it. And additional sugar. I don't know. Something like that. My mom makes them. Whatever. I let her do the work. Anywho, so you roll those up, and then you roll those in melted chocolate, and then you pull them out with a toothpick, set them on cooking paper. But there's a trick. You can't cover the whole thing in chocolate. You leave a little bit of the peanut butter ball exposed to look like a Buckeye. Boom. Best thing ever. Chocolate and peanut butter mixed together. Does not taste like a Reese's cup or Reese's peanut butter or whatever. This is totally different, but delicious. The best.
You had me up until the point where you said it didn't taste like a Reese's peanut butter cup, which is my favorite. So now I'm not sure if I would like this.
Yeah, no, you would love it. It's different. I mean, it's similar, but it's different. Okay. If you like Reese's, you'll love this.
Gotcha. I thought at first you were saying you're going to take like one of those Buckeyes and like roll it in some dough and then eat it and be like, why did I eat this thing?
No. And they may be called something else up here, like probably peanut butter balls, something pretty standard. But down in Ohio, it's a Buckeye ball because they look like a Buckeye.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Like the Ohio State mascot, his head is a Buckeye.
What? Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Come on. Anybody who watches college sports, they know the Ohio State mascot. Come on.
They don't. Hey, nobody's watching sports here. I'm just kidding. If you like watching sports, please stay tuned because I'm sure we'll talk about them someday. I wouldn't hold my breath though. But
hey, how about them Packers, eh?
Anyway, if you want to reach the show, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to us at any time. You can tweet at our official account, which is at GoCritical, or you can tweet at my personal account, which is at JimmyGood013. If you have a question specifically for Mr. Lever over there, all you have to do is tweet at
Lever_627. That's Lever just like Beaver, only with an L.
Very good. Excellent. If you want to see us stream some games like Joe was kind of alluding to earlier, you can check out twitch.tv/critical reviews. There we go. I did it. Like I said, over here we got Zelda. We're going to get back to that very shortly here. Also, I want to thank a few people. I want to thank This Is Daleb for our intro, our outro music. And I also want to thank the one and only Jorn Evers, our resident artist here on the show. If you ever want any commissions done by him, all you have to do is check out at Jade Circle Art over on Twitter or at Niraj28. And he is very, very talented. Please check it out. If you see like the beginning and the end of the show here, that is the work that he has done here. He's very, very talented. But if you want some of his work and you want to support us monetarily at the same time, you can check us out on patreon.com/critical reviews. I implore you to just throw in $1. Just throw in $1 if you can. Heck, if you're at $1, maybe $2. Or you can share us with a friend. Any amount helps keep this train rolling. So thank you guys for liking and sharing and getting the word out there. We really, really do appreciate it. Joe, thank you so much for coming back. It's been a few weeks. I'm glad to have you back here, man.
My pleasure, pal. I missed it. My pleasure.
I know you've been busy, and we have like Kyle on and stuff too, which was really great too. If you guys missed it, Kyle Bossman was on the show last week, but it's nice to have my old podcast compadre back. But next week, well, believe it or not, Justice League will be here. It'll be out. We can see it. We can watch it. We can talk about it. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm hoping for good things. I'm crossing my fingers, my toes right now.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yep. That's what we are. And I want to know if you guys are cautiously optimistic too. So let us know in the comments below or tweet at us anytime. But thank you so much, my lovely Legionnaires. Love and hugs to you all. And just remember to adapt and overcome. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.